If you are between 25 and 35, you have been told a story about success that sounds reasonable, comforting, and dangerously incomplete. The story says you have time. It says your real life will begin later. It says the important decisions can wait. It says you can explore without consequence, delay without cost, drift without damage. It tells you that as long as you are busy, you are progressing. As long as you are tired, you are trying. As long as you are young, you are safe. This story is repeated so often that it feels like truth, but it is not truth. It is a myth, and it quietly steals futures. Ask yourself something honestly. How many people do you know who plan to waste their potential? None. Yet you know many who did. Not because they were lazy, not because they were stupid, but because they believed they had more time than they did, because they confused movement with direction, because they postponed commitment in the name of freedom, because they waited to feel ready. The myth says success arrives suddenly. One big break, one lucky moment, one perfect opportunity. But success rarely announces itself. It grows quietly and visibly while you are busy with other things. What you do not see when you look at someone who is ahead of you is the long stretch of invisible work. You see the finished building, not the foundation poured in the dark. You see the calm confidence, not the years of uncertainty that shaped it. You see the clarity, not the confusion that came before. Real progress is like roots growing underground. There is no applause. There is no validation. There is only repetition. There is only patience. There is only the quiet decision to show up again when nothing seems to be happening. Think of it like sharpening a blade. Each pass against the stone looks the same. It feels slow. It feels unimpressive. But skip the process and the blade stays dull. Rush it and the edge breaks. The work that matters most rarely feels dramatic. It feels boring. It feels lonely. It feels uncertain. And because it does not look like success, many people abandon it too early. Opportunity does not respond to intention. It responds to preparation. This is not a motivational phrase, it is a law. The world does not reward what you want. It rewards what you are ready to handle. When preparation meets opportunity, people call it luck. When opportunity arrives before preparation, it becomes stress. When preparation comes after opportunity, it becomes regret. The timing is not emotional, it is mechanical. Ask yourself where you are preparing and where you are only hoping. Hope without preparation is just waiting. Preparation without hope is just discipline. When the two meet, progress becomes inevitable. You do not rise to the level of your dreams. You fall to the level of your systems. And if your systems are weak, no amount of desire will save you when the moment arrives. Pressure does not create who you are. It reveals who you have been practicing to become. When life tightens, you do not suddenly invent new habits. You default to the ones you already built. Think about the first example you've seen many times. Someone loses a job unexpectedly. One person panics, blames, freezes. Another adjusts, learns, adapts. The difference is not intelligence. It is preparation. It is the quiet hours spent building skills when there was no emergency. Consider another example. A relationship faces strain. One person avoids, escapes, distracts. Another communicates, reflects, takes responsibility. Again, the difference is not emotion, it is pattern. Pressure simply turns up the volume on what was already there. That is why waiting until things get hard to change is a losing strategy. The work must be done before the test arrives. Your focus is your most valuable asset, and most people give it away cheaply. Not because they want to, but because they do not protect it. Distraction is not rest, it is theft. Every time your attention is pulled without intention, something is taken from you. Not immediately, not obviously, but steadily. Focus is like gold dust. Small amounts, collected consistently, become wealth. Scattered carelessly, they disappear. Ask yourself where your best hours go, not your leftover hours, your best ones. Are they invested or spent? Are they aligned with the future you say you want or with the comfort you want right now? Focus does not mean doing more. It means choosing better. It means saying no to good things so you can say yes to the right ones. It means understanding that depth creates leverage, while shallow effort creates noise. Growth follows a simple sequence, but few people respect it long enough to benefit. You learn, you apply, you evaluate, you correct, you persist. Miss one step and the whole process weakens. Many people learn without applying. They collect information and call it progress. Others apply without evaluating. They repeat mistakes and call it experience. Some evaluate without correcting. They analyze endlessly and stay the same. The sequence only works when followed completely. Learning changes your awareness. Application tests your understanding. Evaluation tells you the truth. Correction adjusts your direction. Persistence compounds everything. This is not exciting. It is effective. Over time, this sequence builds competence that feels like confidence. Not loud confidence, quiet confidence, the kind that does not need approval. Motivation is unreliable. Discipline is dependable. Motivation is a mood. Discipline is a structure. Moods change, structures hold. If you wait to feel inspired, you will work occasionally. If you build systems, you will work consistently. The people you admire are not always motivated. They are committed. They have decided in advance what they do regardless of how they feel. Ask yourself whether your progress depends on your mood. If it does, it is fragile. Build routines that remove choice. Reduce friction for the behaviors that move you forward. Increase friction for the behaviors that pull you back. Discipline is not punishment. It is protection. It protects your future self from your present impulses. Time does not move evenly. It moves in seasons. There are seasons to build, seasons to wait, seasons to harvest, and seasons to rest. Strategic patience means knowing which season you are in and acting accordingly. Many people quit in the building season because they expect harvest too soon. Others rest during harvest and wonder why nothing grows later. If you are 25 to 35, you are in a critical building season. Not because life ends later, but because leverage is highest now. Habits formed here echo for decades. Skills built here compound quietly. Relationships chosen here shape your environment. This is not about panic, it is about awareness. You are laying tracks that your future will follow whether you pay attention or not. Feedback is information, not judgment. Without feedback, you are guessing. With feedback, you are adjusting. Measure what matters, not to criticize yourself, but to correct your course. Progress without measurement is illusion. Measurement without correction is stagnation. Small adjustments made early prevent large failures later. Momentum is created by consistency, not intensity. A flywheel moves slowly at first. Each push feels insignificant, but keep pushing and the wheel begins to move on its own. Stop pushing and it slows. Many people quit right before momentum would have made things easier. They confuse slow beginnings with permanent difficulty. Breakthrough is not an event, it is a lifestyle. It is the result of living in alignment long enough that effort turns into identity. You stop trying to change. You simply operate differently. This is not dramatic. It is calm, it is steady, it is powerful. And here is the quiet truth you need to hear now, not later. Cost of waiting is invisible until it is unbearable. One day becomes 1 year. 1 year becomes a pattern. Patterns become a life. Not because you chose badly, but because you did not choose deliberately. You do not need to rush. You need to decide. Decide what you will build. Decide what you will ignore. Decide what you will practice when no one is watching. Ask yourself what future you is begging you to start today, not tomorrow, not when things calm down, today. The window is not closing loudly, it is closing silently, and silence is easy to ignore. If you are listening to this and feeling a quiet discomfort, that is not fear, that is clarity knocking. Do not silence it with distraction. Sit with it. Let it sharpen you. Let it guide you. Because the truth is simple. You are not late, but you are not early either. You are on time, And what you do with this time will decide whether one day you look back with gratitude or with questions you can no longer answer. And the most dangerous question of all is not, what if I fail? It is, what if I never truly try? What if you never truly try? Not because you lack courage, but because you keep telling yourself you will begin later. Later when you are more confident. Later when you have more clarity. Later when life is less demanding. But later is not a place. It is a story the mind tells itself to stay comfortable. And comfort is persuasive. Comfort whispers, it does not shout. It tells you that today's effort will not matter much anyway. It tells you that missing one day is harmless. It tells you that everyone else is confused too. It tells you that nothing is urgent yet, but life is not waiting for your clarity. Time does not pause until you feel ready. Every year you delay building depth, the world keeps moving forward. Skills become outdated. Competition increases. Responsibilities grow. Energy shifts. This is not meant to scare you. It is meant to ground you, because awareness creates power and denial creates drift. Drift is subtle. Drift feels like progress because you are busy. You wake up, you work, you scroll, you plan, you repeat. Days fill up, weeks disappear. And because you are occupied, you assume you are advancing, but activity without direction is just motion. It does not guarantee arrival. A boat without a rudder still moves, but it does not choose where it goes. Ask yourself a difficult question. If nothing changed about how you live, how you work, how you think, where would you be in 5 years? Not where you hope to be, where your current patterns are actually leading. This question matters because the future is built from repetition, not intention. What you repeat becomes your reality. Invisible work is unpopular because it offers no immediate reward, no likes, no praise, no confirmation. It asks you to trust a process you cannot yet see. This is why most people avoid it. They prefer visible effort that feels productive, even if it changes nothing. They confuse exposure with progress, consumption with growth, planning with doing. But the people who build real momentum understand something quietly powerful. They understand that mastery is boring in the beginning, that confidence comes after competence, not before, that clarity is the result of action, not the prerequisite for it. You do not think your way into a new life, you act your way into a new way of thinking. Preparation is often mistaken for perfectionism. They are not the same. Perfectionism delays. Preparation equips. Preparation asks, what skills will future me need? What habits will future me rely on? What standards will future me wish I had set earlier? Then it begins building those things now, imperfectly, consistently, quietly. When opportunity appears, it does not give you time to get ready. It tests what you have already practiced. And if you are not prepared, the opportunity passes, or worse, it arrives and overwhelms you. Many people fear missing opportunities. Fewer fear being unready for them. But being unready is far more painful because it leaves you with regret instead of relief. Pressure moments are not rare, they are guaranteed. Financial pressure, emotional pressure, responsibility pressure, health pressure. These moments do not care about your plans. They arrive when they arrive, and when they do, you do not rise to the occasion. You reveal your preparation. If you have built discipline, you lean on it. If you have built avoidance, you collapse into it. This is why focus matters so deeply. Focus is not about intensity. It is about alignment. It is about choosing what deserves your best energy and guarding it fiercely. Distraction feels harmless because it is small. A few minutes here, a few minutes there. But distraction accumulates. It fragments your thinking. It weakens your patience. It trains your mind to seek novelty instead of depth. Protect your focus like you would protect your savings, because attention is currency. Spend it wisely and it grows. Waste it carelessly and you feel busy but poor. Rich in stimulation, poor in results. Ask yourself what your attention is earning for you. Is it building skill? Is it strengthening relationships? Is it creating leverage? Or is it simply helping you avoid silence? The growth sequence works because it respects reality. You learn not to feel smart, but to understand. You apply not to prove yourself, but to test yourself. You evaluate not to judge, but to see clearly. You correct not to punish, but to improve. And you persist not because it is exciting, but because it works. Most people stop at learning. They feel progress because information creates the illusion of movement. Others stop at application. They try hard, fail, and quit. Few people stay long enough to evaluate honestly and correct patiently. Fewer still persist after early disappointment. But those who do eventually reach a point where progress accelerates. Not because the work got easier, but because they got better. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you want to become. It does not require inspiration. It requires decision. Decision removes debate. When something is decided, it no longer drains energy. You do not argue with yourself each day. You execute. This is why systems matter. Systems turn effort into routine. Routine turns struggle into normality. Strategic patience is misunderstood. It is not passive waiting. It is active endurance. It is the ability to keep showing up without immediate reward, to trust seasons, to understand that roots grow before fruit appears. If you dig up a seed every week to check its progress, you kill it. Growth needs time in the dark. You may feel behind when you compare yourself to others. That feeling is common. But comparison ignores context. It ignores starting points. It ignores sacrifices you cannot see. It ignores paths you do not want. Measure yourself instead against your own potential, against what you could build if you were consistent, against what is possible if you commit fully. Feedback keeps you honest. Without it, ego takes over. You assume effort equals effectiveness. It does not. Measure outcomes, adjust inputs. This is how progress stays real, not emotional, not dramatic, real. Momentum is fragile at first, strong later. Early on, missing one day feels harmless. Later, missing one day feels costly. This is the power of compounding. Small actions repeated consistently create disproportionate results. But compounding works both ways. Neglect compounds too. Delay compounds, avoidance compounds. Breakthrough does not announce itself with fireworks. It feels like things suddenly making sense, like effort meeting flow, like difficulty decreasing. But that moment is not luck. It is the result of thousands of uncelebrated repetitions. And once you experience it, you understand something important. This is not something you visit. It is something you live. You begin to live differently. You choose your time carefully. You choose your commitments deliberately. You choose discomfort now to avoid regret later. You stop asking what feels good today and start asking what builds strength tomorrow. If you are between 25 and 35, this is your moment to decide who you will be practicing to become. Not publicly, privately. In the habits no one applauds, in the choices no one sees, in the hours that feel ordinary. You do not need to overhaul your life overnight. You need to aim it. Direction beats speed. One aligned step taken consistently beats 10 frantic steps taken randomly. Choose one area, build one discipline, improve one skill, protect one habit. Let momentum do the rest. The future is not shaped by grand declarations. It is shaped by quiet follow-through, by showing up when motivation fades, by continuing when results are slow, by trusting a process that does not promise quick wins but delivers lasting ones. One day, not far from now, you will look back at this period of your life. You will remember the distractions, the doubts, the delays, and you will also remember the moments you chose differently, the moments you acted when it would have been easier to wait. Those moments will matter more than you realize right now. Because life does not punish you for not knowing. It responds to what you repeatedly do. And you still have time to choose wisely. Not infinite time, but enough. Enough to build something meaningful. Enough to become someone you respect. So do not ask whether it is too late. Ask whether you are willing to begin while it is still early enough. Begin before clarity. Begin before confidence. Begin before comfort. Begin because your future is already waiting on the habits you build today.